Hey Vinyl community, how you doing? It's Bill with the Vinylverse. This video is going to be a continuation of my ranking series of Genesis releases, and this is part 3, their official live albums. A while back, we're probably going back 6 months or so, I did the first 2 videos for this ranking series. The first being the years 1969 to 1978. And then the second part was 1980 through 1992. So those videos are linked down below if you want to check them out. See how I ranked Genesis albums. Meant to do this back when I did the other 2, but life happened, things got away from me, and I'm just getting to it now. So it's been on my mind for a long time, and finally I am getting to it here. So disclaimer, as I typically do in this type of video, is we all have our own opinions. This is mine. Of course, it's not may not match up with what you think or your opinion. I'm just sharing how I would rank their live recordings. Second part to the disclaimer is this is only the officially released live albums. So not going to include the 2 live recordings that's on this box set. Happen to be playing it in the background. Also, I am not including any bootleg releases. So this is strictly the albums that they put out of their live concerts. So let's get started. Here are the albums we're going to be talking about. Alright, so those are the live albums, and I thought I'd show this box set I have of theirs, which is Genesis 1973 to 2007 live. This box set came out in the year 2000. I have other box sets of theirs up on that top shelf there. You can see them. You can see the whole of where this one was right there. So this opens up like this, and there are the albums there. Okay, so number 6. All right, Live the Way We Walk, the shorts. Now, so after their the last album, studio album they put out with Phil Collins called We Can't Dance, Genesis toured extensively, and that year, 92, 91, 92. So in 1992, they put out the first part of the concert from that tour, and they called it The Way We Walk, the shorts. And the thought behind this album is they included the shorter songs from that tour on this album. And then later on, they put out a volume 2 called Live the Way We Walk, the longs, which included the longer pieces. This CD is from that box set that I just showed, and it has both the shorts and the longs. mixed together. They kind of piecemealed them back together on how the actual concert took place. The reason why I was put this coming in last at the 6th spot is the fact that they did break out this concert into 2 separate releases. And the shorter songs, although I do like them and enjoy them, for me they don't match up to the more epic, longer songs. But having said that, this has some really good moments on it. It opens with Land of Confusion, No Son of Mine, Throwing It All Away, Jesus He Knows Me, Mama, Invisible Touch, Tonight, Tonight, Tonight. So, solid songs there. Yeah, so enjoyable, but something had to fall at the bottom, and this was it. Number 5. Okay, so Live the Way We Walk, Volume 2, The Longs, and that had this as the cover instead of the black and white here. So again, it's coming in number 5 because they separated it out into 2 releases instead of just 1. But I do give the longer songs the edge over the shorter songs. They do a great almost 20-minute medley of a bunch of older songs, Peter Gabriel era and mid to late 70s. Thing with that though is there's too much effects going on in it, in Phil's voice and the keyboards, but Genesis has always done a really good job at their medleys, mixing their different tracks into each other, so highly enjoyable. And then songs like Home by the Sea, Second Home by the Sea, Fading Lights, yeah. So Live the Way We Walk, The Longs, coming in at number 5. Genesis Live Over Europe, 2007. So 2007, Genesis reunited, and typical touring lineup that had been since around 1978, with Chester Thompson on drums, Daryl Stuermer taking over guitar and bass, and then of course Phil Collins, Tony Banks, and Mike Rutherford, the members of Genesis. So 2007, they do the Turn It On Again tour. Total surprise to me that they reunited and toured. They toured in Europe first, spring, early summer, I believe. To say when it was, I believe it was I believe it was spring, early summer. They toured Europe, not an extensive tour, just I don't know, 20 dates or so, and then in the late summer and fall they toured the US again, another 20 dates or so, or maybe it was a little bit more than that, but I was so excited that I went. They came to Philadelphia. I went all 3 nights that they were here. that picture up on the wall is from one of those shows. I was row 6, so had just a fantastic time. Yeah, this was a great show, and this falls where it does just because it doesn't beat out the 3 above it. So, in my opinion, but it was a great set list, great concert, great recording. Really enjoyed it. They opened with Duke's intro, so it was the beginning of the song "Behind the Lines" from the album Duke, which, you know, they hadn't played that in many years. They threw in other classic songs that they hadn't played in a long time, like Ripples, and they closed the show with Carpet Crawlers from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, which again they had not done in a long time. So it was emotional, it was fun. I do love this recording. I have recordings of all 3 nights that I was there. They, you know, one of those companies was there that records the shows and puts the CDs out almost immediately. So I do have a bunch of those recordings from this tour, including the 3 nights that I attended. So yeah, coming at number 4, Genesis Live Over Europe 2007. So Genesis 3 Sides Live coming in at number 3. Great double album here. This happens to be the UK press, which has 4 sides live. In the US, it has 3 sides live, and then the 4th side is basically an EP of songs that were released in Europe but not in the US. So they put them on this album. Now the UK pressing, they have let's see, 2 songs from I think it was in the 1980 tour, and a medley of 2 songs from 1976. So great album. It also had an accompanying movie that went with it. First time I saw it, that movie, I was at a party. I'd never seen it before, and I was young in my Genesis, still, you know, learning about them, and I just absolutely loved seeing that. I was kind of dumbfounded because I had never seen them live before, and it was just great. So great album here. Did I say what year it came out? This was released in June of 1982. The studio album that came out before this was Abacab, so they do play a bunch of Abacab songs on here. Yeah, so Turn It On Again, Abacab, what else? Behind the Lines and Duchess. Duchess is one of my favorite Genesis songs, so love the version that's on here. Great medley in the Cage medley. One of the most classic recordings of that, in my opinion. It's my favorite on this album. If I put that on, it just perks me up because it's so good. And then the end of that medley is the song Afterglow, and that is what this picture is from. This is during the song Afterglow. It's Genesis always kind of uses that purplish, pinkish lighting with smoke during the song Afterglow. Kind of a calling card for them. So yeah, that's number 3. Number 2 is Genesis Live from 1973. So, of course, this is the classic 5-man lineup of Genesis with Peter Gabriel and Steve Hackett, along with Phil Collins, Tony Banks, and Mike Rutherford. This came out in right before their Selling Them by the Pound album. This came out in August of 1973, and it focuses mainly on the previous 2 albums, Nursery Crime and Foxtrot. So, of course, you have Peter Gabriel wearing costumes and such at this point. Peter Gabriel there with the bat wings on his head. For the song Watcher of the Skies, which opens up the concert. Great version of that on this album. Yeah, just a terrific live album. This copy is an American press on the Pink Scroll label, Charisma label. I love that label, by the way. So, of course, you have Phil Collins, Steve Hackett, Peter Gabriel, Tony Banks, and Mike Rutherford. Yeah, great album. So, Watcher of the Skies, Get 'Em Out by Friday, The Return of the Giant Hogweed, The Musical Box, and closing out the album with The Knife. So, this comes in at number 2, classic Genesis album here. When this came out, I think I heard that they originally, they had intended it to be a double album and include the song Supper's Ready on it. And a test pressing actually made it out. And I think, there's a small few of them out there to be had. That would be very, very cool to have this album along with the epic song Supper's Ready, which would take up a whole side of an album. So that, I'm sure, goes for great money, but that would be very cool to have. Genesis Seconds Out from 1977. So this would mark the last album, or the last tour that Steve Hackett played with the band. He left shortly after, actually while this album was being mixed. And I just love this lineup of the band. So this is recorded 1976 and 1977, primarily 1977. In 1976, the tour, after Peter Gabriel left and Phil Collins took over lead vocals, he had to come out front to sing. So he needed a drummer, and the great Bill Bruford joined the band to tour and support Phil on the drums. After that tour, they recruited Chester Thompson, who had previously played with Frank Zappa, Weather Report. He takes over drumming duties, and he's primarily on the drummer on this album, along with Phil Collins. So this is my favorite because, basically because of the track list. There's the gatefold. Here's Chester Thompson. And right below him is Bill Bruford. So here's Phil Collins, Steve Hackett, Mike Rutherford. Where's Tony? Tony Banks up here. So just a great track list. Squonk. Funny, they called the Carpet Crawlers, the song The Carpet Crawlers, which came off of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, they call it The Carpet Crawl on here for some reason. One of my favorite tracks, Firth of Fifth, is on here. One of the best guitar solos out there, in my opinion. Steve Hackett's guitar solo is just gives you goosebumps. I Know What I Like. This does have Supper's Ready. The track The Cinema Show is one that features Bill Bruford on drums, and that may be my favorite track on here, although not my favorite Genesis song. Just the recording of it on here is just, it's sublime. It's really great. Dance on a Volcano, Los Endos. Just an all-around great recording here. Now, in the mix, Steve Hackett's guitar is a little low. That's my only gripe with this. Abbey Road Studios is putting this album out, remix this album, is putting it out. It's coming out in another couple weeks. I have pre-ordered it. I'm hoping that the guitar is up in the mix a little more. Very excited to hear that version. So that's it. Number 1 live Genesis album, in my opinion, Genesis Seconds Out. So thanks for sticking with me through this video. I know I rambled a little bit, but I do appreciate it. And check out my other 2 Genesis ranking videos if you haven't seen them already. I put some time into them, so labor of love, I guess. So that's going to do it for me. I think I will continue to do some ranking videos. Way back when I first started my channel, early on, first several months or so, I did do a ranking of Yes albums from the 1970s. I did my Genesis ranking. I'm considering doing Pink Floyd, the 1970s ranking. That might be down the road. I also was considering King Crimson as well, so we'll see. Genesis is the band I know the most and love the most, so wanted to do this, of course. So everybody, thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it. Appreciate you all. Thank you for subscribing and always commenting and giving me thumbs up and stuff like that. It goes a long way. It does really means a lot. So I just want to make sure you know that I do appreciate it and love interacting with each and every one of you when you comment. So I continue to ramble. Everyone, take care. Hope you're all doing well. Be safe out there. Be kind to each other. And I'll be back again soon with another video, probably a contest video. There's lots of contests continuing to pop up, and I love supporting all these great channels, so I do the contest videos. But anyway, I'm going to sign off now. Everyone, take care. I'll talk to you again soon.